You reach into the bag for one more piece. You told yourself you were done 10 minutes ago, but here you are, hand moving before your brain even registers the decision, pulling out another handful of something sweet, salty, crunchy, something your body told you very clearly that it needed. It did not need it, but it felt exactly like it did, and that feeling is not a flaw in your character. It is a survival system that is roughly 200 million years old, running full speed inside a body that now lives in a world it was never designed for. Here is the strangest part. The craving you feel right now, the pull towards sugar, the way one bite turns into 20, was not designed to destroy you. It was designed to keep you alive. And for most of human history, it worked perfectly. Then something changed. Not in your biology, in your world. To understand why you cannot stop, you have to go back, much further back than you think. Your earliest ancestors did not have grocery stores. They did not have kitchens. They did not have the option to eat at regular intervals throughout the day. What they had was a landscape that was unpredictable, often hostile, and occasionally, loaded with something extraordinary. Ripe fruit, a honeycomb, a cluster of berries, something sweet. And when they found it, the brain did something remarkable. It flooded the body with dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in your brain. Most people think of it as the pleasure chemical. That is not quite right. Neuroscientist Kent Berridge at the University of Michigan has spent decades separating two things that most of us confuse: liking and wanting. Dopamine, Berridge found, is not really about pleasure. It is about motivation. It is the chemical that makes you reach for the thing, not the chemical that makes the thing feel good once you have it. Your ancestor found a honeycomb. Dopamine fired. They did not stop to think. They ate. They ate as fast as they could, as much as they could before the opportunity disappeared. Because it would disappear. It always disappeared. Sugar in nature is rare. It is seasonal. It comes and goes. That is the system you inherited. Now place that system inside a modern supermarket. You are not walking through a landscape where sweetness is rare. You are walking through 40,000 products, the majority of which have been scientifically engineered to trigger the exact same ancient circuit, the same dopamine spike, the same urgent primal instruction. Eat this now as fast as you can before it is gone. But it is never gone. It is always there. And so the circuit never resets. Food scientist Howard Moskowitz spent years working for major food companies, including Pepsi and Campbell's, studying what he called the bliss point, the precise ratio of sugar, salt, and fat that maximizes craving without ever producing satisfaction. Not pleasure, craving. The goal was not to make a food that made you feel good. The goal was to make a food that made you want more. Your brain cannot tell the difference between the bliss point and a honeycomb. To the dopamine system, they are the same signal. Find this. Consume this. Do not stop. This is not a theory. It shows up in the brain imaging research. Neuroscientist Nicola Vena at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai has studied the neural patterns of sugar consumption for years. What she found looks less like eating and more like addiction. In animal models, intermittent access to sugar produces binging, withdrawal symptoms, anxiety, and relentless craving, the same behavioral signature as other substances that humans find very hard to stop using. The brain systems involved overlap significantly. You are not weak. You are dealing with an ancient reward circuit being activated by stimuli that ancient circuit was never meant to encounter at this scale or frequency. But here is where it gets stranger. Sugar is not even the only hijack. It is just the most obvious one. The same dopamine circuit that fires for sweetness also fires for novelty, for variety. Your brain is wired to seek new flavors because, in the ancient world, variety meant nutritional breadth. If you only ever ate one thing, you were probably going to die of a deficiency. So the brain rewards exploration. Food manufacturers know this. It is why a single product will come in 17 flavors. It is why this snack aisle is always changing. Your ancient brain registers variety as survival. It keeps you reaching, keeps you exploring, keeps you consuming things you do not need, because the neurological signal is the same one that once told your ancestor, do not stop looking. There might be something better just ahead. There is another layer. Stress. When your body perceives threat, any threat, whether a predator or a deadline, it releases cortisol. Cortisol is an alarm hormone. It raises your blood sugar. It shifts your brain toward fast, impulsive decisions. It also, specifically and powerfully, increases your desire for calorie-dense food, particularly sweet, fatty food, comfort food. This also makes evolutionary sense. Under stress, your body anticipates that energy expenditure is coming. Fight, flee, or survive. Load up now. Consume what you can. The problem is that modern stress is chronic. You are not stressed for 30 seconds while a lion decides what to do. You are stressed for months, for years, and your cortisol levels stay elevated. And your brain stays in that state of urgent, primal craving. And the bag of chips or the bar of chocolate is right there, within arm's reach, at all times. The ancient circuit fires. You eat. The stress does not go away. The circuit fires again. Psychologist Kelly McGonigal at Stanford has written about what she calls the biology of self-control. The way willpower is not a fixed trait, but a fluctuating resource that depletes under exactly the conditions modern life produces constantly. Sleep deprivation, chronic stress, decision fatigue. The same conditions that spike sugar cravings also drain the mental resource you would use to resist them. The game was always asymmetrical. You just did not know the rules. So what do you do with this? Not much changes if you simply decide to try harder. The circuit is still running. The products are still engineered. The stress has not gone anywhere. What changes is understanding the mechanism. When you recognize the craving as a dopamine signal rather than a genuine physical need, you create a small gap. Not a wall, not immunity, just a gap. A moment between the impulse and the action. Berridge's own research points toward this. The wanting and the liking are separate. And once you can feel them as separate, something shifts. You can want something intensely and still recognize that the wanting is not the same as the needing. You can also work with the ancient circuit instead of against it. If your brain rewards novelty and variety, you can give it that through whole foods, the actual nutritional diversity your ancestors were seeking all along. If your brain craves sweetness, you can give it fruit, the original signal, the one the circuit was actually designed for. The one that comes with fiber and water and compounds that slow the absorption and prevent the spike and crash that makes you reach for more. The brain does not have to be reprogrammed. It just has to be recontextualized. 200 million years of survival machinery brought you here. It kept your ancestors alive through ice ages, through droughts, through seasons when food disappeared entirely. That machinery is not broken. It is just running in the wrong century. Tonight, when you reach into the bag for one more piece, the hand moving before the thought forms, that is not weakness. That is a system that once kept your lineage alive in a world that was brutal and unpredictable and sweet only rarely. The world changed. The system did not. And now, every time you cannot stop at just one, you are feeling very precisely what it meant to survive.